I just realized Strange New Worlds repeated two of Star Trek TNG's groundbreaking ideas. When Star Trek Strange New Worlds debuted, it promised a return to the episodic format that defined the original series and later the Next Generation. Yet the series isn't just a nostalgic throwback, it's also boldly remixing and reframing some of Star Trek's most groundbreaking narrative ideas. Watching Season 2, I suddenly realized that Strange New Worlds has been consciously echoing TNG's boldest storytelling swings, and it's doing so in ways that feel fresh rather than repetitive. Specifically, two standout experiments, the musical episode Subspace Rhapsody and the alternate future narrative of A Quality of Mercy, both trace their lineage directly back to TNG. 1. The musical leap of faith. When TNG aired The Inner Light, or Dharmic, it pushed the boundaries of what a Star Trek episode could be. But one thing TNG never did? Break into song. That honor fell to Strange New Worlds with Subspace Rhapsody, Star Trek's first full musical episode. On the surface, this feels like uncharted territory, but if we look deeper, it's not as unprecedented as it seems. The Next Generation often experimented with form. It may not have gone full Broadway, but it wasn't afraid to step outside the traditional sci-fi template. Think of episodes like Frame of Mind, which blurred psychological thriller and science fiction, or Masks, which turned the Enterprise into a mythological stage. These episodes didn't just tell a sci-fi story, they bent the entire structure of what a Trek episode could be. Subspace Rhapsody is a spiritual descendant of those risks. Much like Frame of Mind, it asked the cast to lean into performance in ways far beyond their usual roles. Where Jonathan Frakes had to play Riker caught in layers of hallucination, here Celia Rose Gooding belts out Lon's insecurities through music, and Anson Mount has to balance Pike's usual stoicism with comedic timing in a universe where bursting into song is unavoidable. The episode also shares DNA with TNG's holodeck excursions. Subspace Rhapsody functions almost like an accidental holodeck program, an alternate reality where characters express truths they'd otherwise repress. Just as Picard could wrestle with Dixon Hill's pulp mysteries or Data could explore Shakespeare in simulations, the crew of the Enterprise and Strange New Worlds get to reveal themselves in heightened, theatrical ways. The groundbreaking idea here isn't just that Trek can be a musical, it's that Trek can bend genres as radically as it wants, and still remain Trek. That's the same lesson TNG taught audiences in the 80s and 90s. 2. Alternate futures as moral test beds. The other TNG-inspired experiment comes in the Season 1 finale, A Quality of Mercy. In it, Captain Pike is given a glimpse of what the future would look like if he tried to avoid his own tragic fate. That future turns out to mirror the timeline of the original series classic Balance of Terror, only with Pike in Kirk's place. This echoes one of TNG's most famous episodes, Yesterday's Enterprise. In that story, the Enterprise C emerges through a rift in time, creating an alternate timeline where the Federation is at war with the Klingons. Picard faces a harrowing choice: send the Enterprise C back to its certain destruction or allow the altered present to continue. Both episodes use alternate futures not for spectacle, but as moral crucibles. In Yesterday's Enterprise, Picard comes to understand the necessity of sacrifice for the greater good. In A Quality of Mercy, Pike learns that his personal attempt to escape fate would lead to far worse consequences, not just for himself but for the galaxy. What makes both episodes groundbreaking is how they use time-twisting setups to reveal character truths. It isn't about watching a what-if scenario for novelty, it's about testing the moral core of Star Trek's captains. Would Picard embrace inevitability? Could Pike accept mortality? These are quintessential Trek questions framed in science-fictional terms. Strange New Worlds cleverly reframes TNG's model. Where Picard's choice was about responsibility as a leader, Pike's is about surrendering control to destiny. Both are weighty, existential themes, but tailored perfectly to their respective captains. Why the echoes matter. What's most impressive is that Strange New Worlds doesn't come across as derivative when it repeats TNG's bold experiments. Instead, it feels like a deliberate continuation of Trek's long tradition of risk-taking. In a franchise that spans nearly 6 decades, reinvention often means looking backward to see how far you can push forward. By riffing on TNG's groundbreaking ideas, Strange New Worlds makes its own statement. that the heart of Star Trek lies in exploration not just of space, but of storytelling itself. One week it can be an alternate history morality play, the next a full-on musical. That was the ethos of TNG at its most daring, and it's what makes Strange New Worlds such a worthy,